Hello, Opening Pathways viewers. It's Tom LeNoble. Great to be with you again. Today we have Tina LeAnn. Tina is the creator of the Recoder System and founder of the Sovereign Soul. We're going to meet with Tina today. I've enjoyed getting to know Tina, and we're going to learn about her business. More importantly, we're going to learn about Tina. Tina, welcome to Opening Pathways.
Thank you so much, Tom. Thanks for having me.
It's great to have you with us. So let's jump right in. I want to hear about your business, and then I most importantly want to hear about what sparked your idea to start it.
Yeah, it's been quite a journey. So my business is the Sovereign Soul, and I work with I work mainly with women right now. I do work with men, but I've been working mainly with women and um as a mentor, guide, coach, uh, um advisor, I guess, in bringing them through this a huge transition in life, whether it's a divorce or a career change, or maybe they want to leave corporate America. They've built, a presence and a career in corporate, and now they want to start a business. And so I work with them as they're moving through these big transitions in life, and it's been so exciting. And it's been quite a journey to get to this space too in my own life. And my business, I feel, is kind of a reflection of my own journey, if you will. And
Did you? Yeah, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
I was curious, was there a moment since you started it that you said to yourself, yeah, this is it. I know this is my path.
Yes, actually, there is. So I worked in engineering for 20 years. And I grew up, let me start a little earlier. I grew up kind of in an inconsistent environment, if you will. And from a very young age, I've been really interested in human behavior and just always been very observant and paying attention to the words people say and the actions that they take. And I noticed that a lot of people, there's a misalignment. And I noticed that early on. And there was a psychology class in high school that really opened my mind to like, oh, there's like a whole system here. there's there's more to the story here, which then led me down. Interestingly enough, I was so interested in human behavior, but I went into engineering because I wanted to be able to take care of myself. And I felt like that was a more stable path to take. I had taken some drafting classes in high school, middle school and high school, and I was really good at it. And so I took the engineering route, but I always stayed very interested in human behavior and human psychology along the way. And I love that the path, while it doesn't seem like it connects, it very much helps me in what I do today and what I've done my whole life. In engineering, I'm always looking at systems and patterns and troubleshooting worst case scenarios, and then rerouting, reconnecting, rewiring, if you will. And that's exactly what I'm doing right now with my clients through NLP and these other systems that I use. We're rewiring the brain, recalibrating the nervous system. I'm really good at seeing patterns and troubleshooting, and so I can see their full potential. And so all of the background stuff, while it doesn't seem related, it's all very much connected.
Yes, yes. NLP. I got exposed to NLP. I'm going to tell you, it must have been close to 30 years ago, which is interesting to see how it's progressed and still an effective tool today. Tell me this, Tina, what I'm interested in knowing is since you started all this, how have you changed and what have you had to let go of in the process?
Oh my gosh, I've had to let go of everything. um, I've had to let go. Surrender has been surrender has been the theme for me, and mainly in the last 10 years. I got a divorce about 5 years ago, and about 5 years prior to that, gotten I'd gotten I had some health issues. I had pushed myself so hard for so long that I just came to this point where my body just said enough is enough. If you're not going to stop and slow down, then I'm going to do it for you. And so I had some health issues, and in the process of that, I had to surrender so much of who I was, the identities that I was carrying, and what I believed about myself of being the hard worker and I can do this all on my own. And, all these beliefs and identities that I had been carrying, I really had to let go of all of that and learn to receive help and learn to ask for help and learn to do things differently in a more fluid, graceful way rather than forcing things. And so that was a huge surrender piece for me. And then just learning more about my body and learning how to take care of myself. I had been taking care of everybody else, helping everyone else build their lives, and I forgot about myself. And so it took me into this space of what about Tina? What about me? And so I learned to really pay attention to my body and what I needed and to then surrender any guilt or shame that came with that at first. When you're taking care of everyone else and you come around to learning to take care of yourself, it feels a little selfish at first. And so I had to surrender that as well. And then, after my divorce, just surrendering 21 years of marriage and what could have been, and the grief that came, allowing the grief to move through me. There was so much grief that came through, from all the words that I never said, the things that I never did for myself. And so there was a lot of surrender in that, and then just coming around to, it's okay to take care of yourself. It's okay to give you what you need. It's okay to build the life that you want to build.
I call this little wake up call that we get sometimes the 2x4 effect. And the reason is, I believe, whatever you want to call it, God, love, the universe, whatever label we give, it has a way of, tap, 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 I need your attention. And then when we don't pay attention, it has a tap of, a little bit harder. And then when we don't pay attention, the 2x4 effect comes in and it's finally, I'll get your attention. And I've seen this many times, not only with others, but with myself. And I think as we progress and gain life's wisdom to learn when that little tap is happening versus waiting for the 2x4 effect is so important. So
Mm.
tell me this. What values have guided you from the start?
That's a good question. Integrity. I feel like integrity has been a big one to, if I say something, if I believe in something, what are my actions that follow? Am I acting in a way that supports my words? And so that's been a huge value. That's, I think, my number one value. Sovereignty is another value. Autonomy, sovereignty, really taking care of myself and being the best that I can be in understanding how much of a gift that is for other people. Coming out of the people pleasing and, the toxic strategies that I had been moving from, coming around out of that and feeling selfish, and then really coming around to the other side and understanding just how much of a gift it is when you can sit in front of somebody as a sovereign human being. You can sit in that energy. It's almost like giving the other person permission to completely be themselves and to
Yes.
just let take all the masks off and just let everything go and just show me who you are.
Yeah, I love this idea about masks and facades because I have this thing, you're going to eventually be who you are. So it's just so much simpler to start from the beginning, just being who you are. So
Yeah.
it really is. So tell me this, where has life asked Tina to slow down lately?
Ooh, I just had a conversation about this with a friend of mine yesterday. Life has asked me to slow down. Ooh, this is a good question. How do I answer this? I think it's a more internal slowing down to really. hear my next step, if that makes sense. Sometimes when I'm moving too fast, I miss the whispers. I don't hear the whispers as clearly. And so right now, I feel like I'm being asked to put the phone down and stay home, stay home a little bit more and or go out in nature to just be by myself a little bit more and to really pay attention to the whispers, pay attention to your body. Where are you being led? And then follow that without question and with more play.
Yeah, yeah. I love the whispers, right? I had this experience yesterday where I bought something 3 months ago, and there's another part to it that is necessary. And my whisper said, you need to buy that extra part. And instead, in a rush, I thought, oh, I already have that somewhere. Well, when I went to use it yesterday, I didn't have that part. And so I needed to use it. So I had to stop everything and get in the car, go get this part that I needed to be able to do what I needed to do. It wasn't a choice. And I remember thinking, need to listen better to those whispers. I try and do it all the time, but life takes over and then we don't hear it. And what I really love about this conversation is even the awareness that we know that happens. And I hope other people are hearing this to see if they don't know about those whispers or whatever we like to call them, that they start listening for them. So tell me this, Tina. I talk to a lot of people on this podcast, and I love this question because I know for me it's true, and so far for everybody else. When we were really little, somebody planted some seeds of who we became in life. Somebody was an early role model or a mentor of sorts. Who was that for you?
Oh my goodness. You're asking some really great questions, Tom. Who is that for me? I think it was Mr. Beaster. I had a teacher in middle school. So
Love
I
it.
was, yeah, Mr. Beaster. Isn't that a great name?
It's
Um,
a,
in middle school, I was so quiet and nerdy in elementary school and middle school. And I didn't ask a lot of questions. I didn't raise my hand. I peacekeeping was my thing, and so Mr. Beaster was a graphic arts class, and he really there was a lot of hands-on work in that class, and I just loved it. We got to use all kinds of different tools and everything, and he really brought something out in me that no other teacher did. It was really fun the way he showed up. He was very strict, and everything was very streamlined because we were using tools and he wanted to make sure everybody was safe, but at the same time he always brought this sense of fun, and I always felt like we were having fun, and he brought a lot of laughter to class, and he was really good at um complimenting the students and pulling their gifts out, if you will. And so, yeah, I haven't thought about him in a long time. That's a good
I,
question.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I love these thoughts about former teachers. Mine was Miss McClellan,
Mm.
and um, in first grade, I we were in the room and we had little cubby holes, and there was a bathroom in our room, and Miss McClellan had made this little sign for the door. When you went in, you turned it on red, and when you came out, you turned it on green. Well, I sat next to that bathroom, and so I thought it was really fun, especially when the little girls went in there. When they turned the sign on red, I would reach over and turn it on green. Somebody would walk in, everybody would scream, and I would giggle until
Mm.
I got caught. So in first grade in this picture for the year, I'm by that bathroom. The rest of all grammar school, I'm on the other side of the room. So, but Miss McClellan was great. She handled it well, and I got to learn a great lesson from her about it. I'll never forget her. I love these teachers, and I love his name. Tell me this: how has your relationship with risk changed as you've been growing this business?
Oh, well, my risk used to be skydiving and rock climbing and whitewater rafting and all
Wow.
things. Yes, I'm very adventurous. I've been to Mount Everest Base Camp and summited Kilimanjaro. I push, I've always been sort of an athlete at heart and love challenging my body, or doing challenging in ways that are challenging my body, like I have to do a lot of prep and plan for these things. And so it's always been an internal one-to-one kind of risk and competition, right? I'm not very competitive with other people, but I'm competitive with myself. And just, seeing how far I can go. Okay, I did Everest Base Camp. Can I do Kilimanjaro? Things like that. Now the risk is, can I allow myself to be seen on social media? Can I record a video and put it online? Can I stand in,
Wow.
yeah, can I stand on stage in front of a couple hundred people and speak my truth? Can I,
Interesting.
yeah, can I open my heart more? Can I be more vulnerable when I'm sitting in front of somebody or next to somebody? Can I share my true thoughts? Can I, that's the risk now, because I used to keep all that stuff to myself and I used to quiet my voice and suppress my voice. And so it's completely changed for me.
Interesting. So I
Yeah.
love this. I love this idea of a new risk. I don't know. Somebody asked me to skydive one time, and I looked at him and said, "Now, why would I want to jump out of a perfectly good plane? Right? Why would I want to do this? What did last year strip away, and you're grateful it's gone?"
Oh, it's stripped away, just as what I was saying. Last year was when I really, something shifted in me toward the end of the year, where I had been so terrified to use social media as a marketing platform to reach more people. I was so terrified. I was holding myself back on that so much. And something just snapped last year where I was like, why am I worried about this? This isn't even about me. This has nothing to do with me. I'm merely a channel. And if I have the knowledge and the wisdom and the capacity to hold space for someone, to facilitate and hold space for someone to make an enormous transformation in themselves, why wouldn't I speak my truth online? And so I started posting videos online last year. And it, yeah, it, that in itself created a huge transformation within me.
Wow. So let's talk about fear for a moment.
Mm.
How do you recognize when fear is information and not a stop sign?
Oh, that's a good question. For me, fear, when it's not a stop sign, it feels exciting. There's something that happens somatically in my body where every cell of my body will light up, and I'll be like, that feels terrifying. And also, I really want to do it at the same time. They say fear and excitement physiologically are the same. And I feel like the whisper, the knowing, there's a knowing that there's a sense of, I am terrified of this, but there's something in me that feels like this is a yes. And if it's a fear, like a no-go situation, there's, I feel a contraction. I feel like my shoulders kind of come in or something, or I just feel my body contracting in some way, almost like I'm stepping back. And so that, for me personally, that's how I distinguish it. If it's a fear but a yes, it feels more expansive. I feel myself moving forward or being pulled forward. And if it's a fear or no, stay away from that, that feels harmful, I feel myself being pulled back.
Interesting. Yes. So tell me this, what boundary has become essential to your sustainability?
Mm, it's a boundary of, ooh, this is interesting. Boundaries are kind of a yes and no for me. They're my yeses and nos. And so the boundary that's become essential is this on mission or not for everything that I do? Whether it's, even giving or even taking time to have lunch with a friend or to go hiking or something like that. The boundary is always a yes or a no. Is this on mission? And whether the mission is to um, build my business or the mission to learn something, to take time to learn something, or the mission to rest. And then it becomes an easy yes or no. Is this going to move me forward or is it going to distract me in any way?
Have you ever said no to growth because it wasn't aligned?
Yes.
Tell
Yes,
us.
I have. I have invitations to retreats, and I have looked into other learnings. I was going to take an astrology class actually the beginning of this year, and it was felt so interesting to me, and I felt like this will really be helpful for me and my clients. And, I was all like set to go on this thing. And then I went for a walk and then I just heard this like, or felt in my body like this is going to be a distraction. You do not need to do this right now. You need to focus on you're writing a book and doing, these other things. That's where you need to focus right now. The astrology can come later, or maybe just don't take an official class. Just, learn a little bit here and there when you have the time. So yeah, I have said no
Yeah,
to
yeah.
growth. Yeah.
So, Tina, what future version of yourself are you actively becoming?
Mm, I am actively becoming someone who is not afraid to be seen and heard all the way through.
Very good. Yeah.
Yeah.
What does what does renewal look like for Tina beyond the typical I'm going to take a day off or I need to rest? What does renewal look like?
For me, it's nature. I love to be outside. I live in Salt Lake City. I'm right by the mountains, and so I will go for a hike, as time allows. And I often, even on busy days, I will, at the end of the day, I will just drive up to the mountain. There's a fly park here, just close to my 15 minutes from my house, and I'll drive up there and just watch the sunset over the city. And that that just feeds my soul. So that's what I do. Something really simple. I'll hop on my bike and go for a bike ride, just to be by myself and to be outside.
Yeah, I'm
That's
with you.
yeah, yeah,
For me, nature is such a not only a healer, but it brings clarity. It's like a reset for me. I love just stepping out and breathing air, and getting away from these boxes and computers and the brain working so hard and just let it expand a little bit and move,
yeah.
is so important. So tell me, what have you learned about trust since you started this journey on this business?
Mhm. Trust. I have learned, how do I articulate this with trust? I have learned to, with trust, how do I word this? I have learned that everything that I thought I didn't know, I already knew since childhood. And trust, to just open your mind, open your heart, and surrender. surrender everything, surrender your beliefs and your rules, and just surrender, surrender, surrender. And in the surrender, there's such a deep trust in yourself. I believe that trust in the self comes first. And once you trust yourself, you trust your path, you trust your actions, you trust other people. It just all around just grows when you really, really, really tap into your own self-trust.
Yes, yes. I find this with clients a lot, what I call the art of listening. So
Mm.
many people listen to others, and while they're listening, in their mind, they're already thinking of how they'll respond. Well, if you're doing that, you're not really listening. And you're certainly not trusting yourself to respond, which you will. But most importantly, the other person knows you're not listening. And so you sort of self-defeating when you don't trust that you're going to take in the information and be able to respond, because you can always ask a clarifying question, right?
Hmm.
So I'm curious, what does legacy mean to you at this stage of your life?
Hmm. Legacy for me, I think legacy for me means to just be really present with people. And I don't know if I need to leave something material behind. Um, as legacy, I think we think of legacy in so many different ways. And I don't know if I need to build something to leave behind, although I am building something that might be continue after I'm gone. But I think legacy for me mostly is just how I show up when I'm around other people. How do other people feel in my presence? That's most important for me, to just really be present and open and give them the space to be present and open as well.
There's been a lot of wisdom shared on this podcast from that question. Tina, tell me, what's the big bold vision that you have coming up in the future?
Oh, let's see. I'm writing a book. I'm considering a TED Talk and speaking on some more stages. And my big, 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 big audacious goal is I want to buy some land and rescue wild horses.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's my big audacious goal.
Yeah, I
So,
love that.
yeah.
Yeah, I have a friend on Maui. I live there part-time who has a pig sanctuary, but
Mm.
her real business is she has a horse camp, and she's been training kids on Maui how to ride, little kids, for like 30 years. But she uses it to fund her dream, which was to rescue pigs. And the Lahaina fire, she has like, I don't know, 34 or 40 pigs that would, who knows what would have happened to them, that she was able to take in. And plus, it's so much fun to go visit this pig sanctuary. She does tours and people sponsor the pigs. And I've got a whole story about how I got involved with her with a pig named Buttercream, but that's another day and another podcast. Tina, tell me this, please. If your much, much younger self was watching this podcast we're recording, what would you tell her?
I would tell her just what I said before. You already know. You already know. Make sure your voice is louder than anybody else's, and to just trust and follow the breadcrumbs, listen to the whispers, and you got this. And
Yeah,
that's it. Yeah.
great wisdom for others in that statement. Um, Tina, creator of the Recoder System and founder of the Sovereign Soul, tell me this, what invitation would from your story, would you like to leave with the visitors here listening today?
Mm. I would like to invite listeners to put their phone down and to go outside and put their face toward the sun just for a few minutes and just really feel what it feels like to sit with themselves and not listen, not hear anything external, and just listen to their own body and to listen to their own voice just for a couple minutes.
Yeah, I love that one. Thank you. Tina LeAnn, thank you for being on Opening Pathways today. Tell us again about your business and how we find you.
Thanks for having me, Tom. This has been really enjoyable. You can go to my website, thesovereignsoul.co, and all the information is there on how to work with me. And I do short little videos on Instagram, and my handle on Instagram is I am Tina LeAnn.
Wonderful. Thank you, Tina. And to my viewers, this is Tom LeNoble, and I'll see you next time.